This episode is brought to you by ElevateOS, the only all-in-one community operating system. ElevateOS transforms property management, combining resident engagement, reservations, rent payments, maintenance, and concierge services into a single super app. It also uniquely integrates access control, intercoms, package lockers, and thermostats, eliminating app fatigue and redefining modern apartment living. Visit elevateos.com/MMN for a free demo and see how they can help you level up your operations. Welcome to another episode of the Multifamily Collective. Tonight, let's talk about a big problem that we have in multifamily leadership. And that big problem sometimes is that you personally as a leader can't see your own blind spots, much less the blind spots in the organization that are impacting the organization. Or sometimes you can see blind spots in other people. You can see blind spots in your organization, but you can't see blind spots in yourself. We overlook things because of those blind spots, like good, clear communication. We look past or through accountability issues with people in your organization. Sometimes the culture is adrift and you don't see that. It's a blind spot. Your culture is drifting off course, off track, and you don't see it because you can't see the blind spot that is innate in you as a leader. You don't see it until it's too late. You don't see it until in that culture circumstance where people start to opt out of the culture because it doesn't really fit who they are as a person or a professional anymore, but you took your eye off the ball. You didn't see the culture shifting right before your eyes. You had a blind spot. So how do you fix that? I think there's a great structural feedback fix, and you have it in my head. You have to have an architecture in your organization that embedded in is a feedback loop, and that, practically speaking, exists in the way of daily huddles, weekly meetings, every other week one-to-ones or one-on-one conversations with your downstream direct reports, monthly meetings, quarterly meetings. Now, those are a lot of annual planning sessions, a lot of meetings, right? I believe in my heart of hearts that don't have a meeting unless you're solving problems in the meeting. But the point is, as it relates to your blind spots, if you're having coordinated meetings with good cadence and they're brief in nature and they're designed to solve problems, then you're fine. You're fine to have a lot of meetings. You're fine to have a lot of collaboration in your organization as long as you're leaving room for execution. But those meetings are tightly controlled with a tight agenda, with tight timelines and tight intention. And the overarching purpose is to solve problems. But the underlying purpose is to make sure that you don't have blind spots in your organization. You see the culture going adrift because you're participating in the daily huddles, you're participating in the weekly meetings, you're participating in the one-to-ones, you're participating in the monthly meetings, and so on and so forth. And so you're getting a lot of feedback, a lot of data that's coming into those if you design them such that you're open to hearing what your team members are telling you. So if you think about it, each one of those touch points gives you thousands of pieces of data that you can connect the dots in your own head, but you have the voice of the customer, you have the voice of the team member, you have the voice of the vendor partners, supplier partners, you have the voice of the investors, you have the voice of the owners in the room, whether it be directly or by proxy. You have all of that information in the room so you can see all these blind spots. Your job as leader in part is to make sure that you don't have any blind spots in your organization so you can make sure that your culture doesn't drift. You are holding people accountable. You have very clear communication, or you're in forums where if the communication is not clear, you do have designs such that it gets clarity pretty quickly because your team is going to ask you. So my call to action for you is really get intentional about creating feedback loops in your organization. Get intentional about creating cadence in your meetings. Make sure that those meetings are intentional. Make sure that those agendas are tight. Make sure that you're solving problems. You're not just in there meeting to meet just so you can check a box. You're in there solving problems. The work is the meeting and the meeting is the work. Do that, and I guarantee your organization will be better for it. Take care. We'll talk to you again soon.